The world of the wild is a relentless, unblinking entity, but nowhere is its cruelty so perfectly crystallized as in the silent, sun-baked theaters of survival. It is here, in a patch of brittle savanna where the air itself seems to shimmer with heat, that we witness the first, terrifying lesson of existence. Instinct is the ultimate currency of life. Our focus narrows to two figures, bound by the cruelest equation of nature, a mother impala and her newborn fawn. The calf, a miracle of new life, is a study in fragility, a collection of spindly legs and soft fur, still damp from its entry into a world that neither offers comfort nor guarantees safety. It stumbles, its movements dictated by a brain still orienting itself to the vertical plane, seeking the steady warmth of its mother's flank. Every wobbly step is a monumental effort, an act of defiance against gravity, and more immediately, against the omnipresent specter of death. For the mother, every flicker of movement, every shadow, every shift in the wind is a weighted warning. Her ears swivel, radar dishes seeking the signal of danger. And the signal comes not as a roar, but as an almost imperceptible ripple in the tall grass. A movement too low, too fluid, too intentional to be the wind. It is the huntress, a lioness draped low, a magnificent coil of muscle and stealth. She moves with the eerie silence of a dream, every fiber focused on the tender prize. Her eyes, the color of amber and cold calculation, are locked onto the fawn. She knows the vulnerability of the first few hours. She knows that a single, swift charge will end the struggle before it even begins. Her presence is a gravitational force, pulling the scene toward inevitable tragedy. The mother impala, a creature genetically wired for flight, feels the chill of the predator's intent penetrate her very bones. But the sacred bond of motherhood transcends the primal urge to flee. In that infinitesimal moment, she doesn't panic. She calculates. She understands the equation. The fawn is too slow, too weak, too visible. Its survival depends entirely on a momentary diversion.
Fully committed to the stalk, the free lionesses advance slowly. Every muscle is tense.
In a stunning, almost theatrical move, the mother turns toward the lioness. She stamps the ground, not in a suicidal challenge, but in a display of deliberate distraction. With a burst of speed, she breaks away, executing a frantic, zigzagging path that draws the predator's attention away from the hiding fawn. The lioness, trained by generations of efficiency, shifts her focus to the larger, faster target, the sure meal. She unleashes her devastating sprint, a blur of golden muscle and razor-tipped claws. The mother impala knows her role. She is the decoy, the sacrifice. Her flight is not escape. It is a meticulously managed delay. She must run just close enough to entice the predator, yet stay just far enough ahead to survive the initial lethal pounce. This is a game played on the razor's edge, where a single misstep means the difference between life and death, not just for her, but for her bloodline. She risks everything, pouring every ounce of strength into her desperate run, painting herself as the primary target. The lioness pursues, the ground shaking beneath the force of the chase. The fawn, abandoned momentarily, stays frozen, relying on the primordial wisdom of camouflage and silence. When the lioness finally realizes the quarry is too fast, too alert, or perhaps simply when the mother has run far enough to guarantee the fawn's safety, the mother vanishes into the heat haze. The predator, defeated and denied, is left panting, the taste of failure bitter in her jaws. The fawn, minutes later, emerges from its hiding spot, seeking the triumphant return of its protector. To understand the immense price of survival, we must first appreciate the scale of the world these creatures inhabit. Our journey takes us away from the intimate drama of the impala and into the colossal, sweeping expanse of South Sudan, a landscape that defies easy comprehension. This is not the familiar, over-documented terrain of the Serengeti. This is an ecosystem of virgin grass and unbroken horizons, a place where the hand of man has been kept at bay just long enough for ancient patterns to endure.
Slowing to an almost imperceptible crawl.
Here, the great drama of life is not played out on a calendar, but on the very breath of the land itself. The entire existence of the plains is dictated by the rhythm of the White Nile, the great hydrological pulse that swells and recedes, shaping the destiny of all that draws breath near its banks. This territory, encompassing the vast plains of the Boma and Bandingilo national parks, holds one of the world's most astonishing, yet least seen, natural spectacles, a massive animal migration of over 1 million individuals. Imagine standing on a rise as the world seems to tilt and surge. This is not just a few thousand animals. This is an inland ocean of muscle and hooves, moving with a collective, unstoppable force. At the heart of this colossal movement are the White-eared Kob, a staggering herd of up to 700,000 individuals, a dense, living river of antelopes.
That looks like the entry point.
Yes, let's head towards that section next.
Unlike the precise, seasonal timetables of other African migrations, the Kob's journey is organic, dictated by the immediate necessity of finding sweet grass and permanent water. They follow the life-giving recession of the Nile's floodwaters. As the plains dry out, they move toward the riverbanks. As the rains return, they scatter across the rejuvenated grazing lands. Their movement is a fluid, continuous negotiation with the environment, not a rigid schedule. We see the sheer scale of cooperation in action. When 700,000 animals move, they move as a single entity, a superorganism. Individual survival is wholly dependent on the herd's cohesion. They rely on the collective wisdom, the million eyes scanning the horizon for danger, the collective scent marking the freshest pastures. This strategy is an undeniable lesson in the power of unity. A single Kob is easy prey. 700,000 Kobs are an insurmountable force, their sheer numbers confounding any single predator. Yet this life is a constant test of endurance. The endless trek is a physical agony, a relentless consumption of energy under the burning equatorial sun. They are pursued by the remaining formidable predators, the hyenas, the lions, and the sheer environmental pressures of drought and disease. Every day is a struggle against exhaustion. The weak fall, and the herd moves on, adhering to the savage yet necessary law. The strength of the herd determines the survival of the species. The Great Nile Migration is a testament to the resilience of nature when left to its own devices, a pristine prairie where the rules have not been rewritten by human intervention. It is a terrifying, beautiful, awe-inspiring display of life's commitment to continuance. When facing a monumental challenge in your own life, a massive project, a daunting emotional obstacle, do you try to face it alone, or do you understand the power of your herd, the collective strength of your community? The transition from the sun-drenched plains takes us into the labyrinthine heart of the wetlands, a sprawling, sodden kingdom where the rules of gravity and motion shift entirely. Here, motion is slow, the air is humid, and the true ruler is a giant whose very existence seems a contradiction, the hippopotamus. The hippo, a creature of staggering bulk and notorious territorial ferocity, is a paradox. It shares an evolutionary origin with the most graceful and immense creatures of the deep, the whales. Yet it is earthbound, a vessel of almost clumsy power. Its massive jaws and brute strength are tools for vicious, sometimes fatal, territorial disputes. To cross a hippo's path, especially between its resting pool and its grazing grounds, is to invite sudden and overwhelming violence. Yet beneath this facade of a land-bound brute lies the soul of a crucial ecosystem engineer. The hippo's nightly march from the water to the grazing areas creates natural pathways. These hippo highways are more than just trails. They are channels cut through the dense wetland vegetation. By constantly trampling and clearing the undergrowth, They prevent the water from stagnating, maintaining the vital flow necessary for fish, insects, and smaller reptiles. Furthermore, the hippo's enormous appetite and subsequent waste deposition are vital. They graze vast quantities of grass on land, process it, and then deposit the nutrient-rich waste back into the water. This organic matter, feces, is not waste at all, but the essential foundation of the aquatic food chain. It fertilizes the algae and plankton, which feed the smaller fish, which in turn feed the larger predators. Without the hippo, the wetlands would choke on dense reeds and starve of the necessary nutrients. It is a humbling reminder that in nature, even the roles that appear brutish and messy are essential to the overall design. The hippo is a king whose throne is built on mud and whose greatest contribution is the very act of its existence. However, even a creature of this might is vulnerable. The relentless pressures of poaching for meat and ivory and the destruction of their natural habitat have placed the hippo onto the list of threatened species. The silence of the wetlands, should the hippo vanish, would be the sound of a system collapsing. Now contrast the hippo's blunt, bulldozing approach with the survival strategy of another wetland inhabitant, the Sitatunga antelope, the ghost of the swamp. The Sitatunga is a masterpiece of evolution tailored for the boggy, saturated environment. While its relative, the Impala, is built for explosive speed on hard earth, the Sitatunga is designed for stealth and fluidity in the mire. Its most distinctive feature is its hooves, long, splayed, and widely separated, functioning like snowshoes or natural water skis. These specialized hooves distribute its weight so perfectly that the Sitatunga can walk over dense, matted reeds and thick, sucking mud, where any other antelope would instantly sink and be trapped. Its defense mechanism is pure tactical genius. When a predator, a leopard, a crocodile, or a wild dog nears, the Sitatunga does not run in the traditional sense. It utilizes the very environment as an invisible shield. With a fluid movement, it plunges into the deepest part of the swamp, submerging its body entirely beneath the murky water. All that remains visible is the very tip of its nose, often barely breaking the surface among the reeds and lilies. It can remain in this state of suspended animation for long periods, an invisible phantom breathing through the water. This strategy is a triumph of adaptation over aggression. It understands that in its domain, invisibility is the ultimate form of defense. It turns its weakness, the slow, difficult movement of the swamp, into its greatest strength, transforming the wetland into a fortress that only it can navigate and survive within. The juxtaposition of the hippo and the Sitatunga offers a powerful lesson. One survives by radically shaping the environment to its needs, the engineer. The other survives by perfectly yielding to and utilizing the environment, the ghost. In your own professional or personal life, are you primarily a hippo, a bold, necessary force who changes the landscape, or a Sitatunga, a master of strategic adaptation and invisible maneuver? Both roles are necessary for a system to thrive. Our focus shifts from the navigators of the wetlands to its ultimate, cold-blooded masters, creatures who represent the pure, unyielding cruelty of natural law. Beneath the still, deceptively calm surface of the Nile's backwaters lurks the Nile crocodile, a survivor from a time before mammals dominated the earth. It is a monument to successful, lethal evolution. The crocodile's strategy is the antithesis of the impala's frantic flight. It is absolute patience. It is a creature of geological time, capable of waiting for days or even weeks, an immobile log on the riverbank, its reptilian brain focused solely on the metabolic necessity of the hunt. When the moment arrives, the attack is an explosion of primeval violence. Its charge is a sudden, terrifying blur, but its true weapon is the crush of its jaws. The Nile crocodile possesses one of the most powerful bite forces in the animal kingdom, measured in thousands of pounds per square inch, a crushing mechanism designed to immobilize and shatter bone. But the most infamous tactic is the death roll. Once it has secured its prey, the crocodile locks its jaws and begins a rapid, violent spinning motion in the water. This action, designed to dismember the victim and tear off manageable chunks of meat, is a horrifying display of biomechanical efficiency, a lethal centrifuge that leaves no chance for escape. It is a predator that offers no sympathy, only the certainty of a fatal contract. Yet, even this ultimate predator is occasionally observed engaging in an act that seems to defy its ferocious nature: the alleged symbiosis with the Egyptian plover. The folklore, and often observed behavior, tells a story of improbable trust. A small, delicate bird, the plover, sometimes walks fearlessly up to a basking crocodile, and as the reptile's jaws gape open in a terrifying display of massive, serrated teeth, the bird enters the cavernous mouth. The plover is not being devoured. It is performing a service, picking leeches, parasites, and food remnants from between the crocodile's teeth. The crocodile, capable of snapping its jaws shut and ending the plover's life in an instant, remains motionless. It is a tacit pact, a temporary truce born of mutual benefit. The plover gains a meal. The crocodile gains dental hygiene, a crucial function for a predator whose survival depends on the health of its deadly bite. This strange alliance is a profound commentary on the complex web of nature. Even the most terrifying killer can enter a symbiotic relationship when the benefits outweigh the risk, proving that even pure aggression understands the utility of cooperation.
Removing parasites from the crocodile's deadly teeth.
If the crocodile is brute force, the shoebill, or Ballyniceps rex, is the pure embodiment of terrifying surgical patience. This massive, solitary bird, often described as looking like a misplaced dinosaur, haunts the dense, almost inaccessible swamps. Evolutionarily, it is surprisingly closer to pelicans than the storks it superficially resembles. The shoebill's hunting strategy is an artistic display of stillness. It does not chase, it does not patrol, it waits. It assumes a stance of almost perfect immobility, a statue of slate-grey feathers, blending seamlessly with the surrounding reeds. It can stand motionless for hours, its huge, unsettling, expressive yellow eyes locked onto the water below, its whole being reduced to a single point of focused anticipation. Then, in a fraction of a second, the statue explodes into action. The bird's neck unfurls like a spring, and its colossal, hook-tipped bill, which truly resembles an oversized Dutch wooden shoe, descends with devastating force. The strike is so rapid and so powerful that it often fractures the skull of its prey before the bird even lifts it from the water. The hook at the end of the bill is designed not just for capture, but for immediate dispatch and manipulation. The shoebill's life is a masterclass in strategic resource management. By expending almost no energy on the hunt until the absolute perfect moment, it maximizes its caloric intake while minimizing risk and fatigue. The contrast between the croc and the shoebill teaches us about strategic efficiency. One relies on devastating power and the environment's cover. The other relies on zen-like stillness and surgical precision. Which discipline is harder for you to master in your own endeavors? The crocodile's raw, terrifying power, or the shoebill's absolute, unwavering patience? And what prey, what goal are you waiting for? Our story now takes a somber, reflective turn, moving from the present spectacles of life to the profound tragedy of absence. The air in the plains surrounding the swamps feels subtly different, a silence where there should be cacophony, a missing thread in the ecological tapestry. This void is the local extinction of one of the savanna's most brilliant and efficient hunters, the African wild dog, Lycaon pictus, or painted wolf. To understand the weight of this loss, one must first appreciate the genius of the wild dog. They are not merely predators, they are machines of endurance. Their lean, almost skeletal build, coupled with massive lungs and a unique social structure, makes them biologically engineered for the chase by exhaustion. They don't rely on the explosive, short-burst speed of a cheetah. They rely on relentless, organized marathon running. They will pursue a target for miles, communicating through high-pitched chirps and clicks, coordinating their movements with democratic precision until the prey, often a massive kudu or wildebeest, simply collapses from fatigue. Their success rate is staggering, often exceeding 80% of all hunts, a number unmatched by any other major carnivore. But their genius truly lies in their society. The wild dog pack operates like a hyper-efficient, highly compassionate democracy. Decisions are collective. They care for the sick, the elderly, and the injured. When a member is wounded, the entire pack takes on the role of caregiver, regurgitating food for the patient until it recovers. Their structure is one of cooperative discipline and selfless loyalty.
The work of the Marabou Stork is done. The carcass is clean.
When this animal, the apex regulator, the genius strategist, the symbol of social cooperation, vanishes, the ecosystem suffers a catastrophic loss. Their disappearance creates an ecological vacuum. By regulating the populations of fast-moving ungulates and ensuring that only the fittest survive, the wild dogs were vital cogs in the system. Their absence allows less efficient, often slower predators, like hyenas or single, uncooperative lions, to flourish disproportionately, leading to less effective herd management and potentially the spread of disease among prey animals. The silence where their excited, pre-hunt chorus once rang is an unsettling monument to human indifference and encroachment. Habitat fragmentation and conflict with farmers have effectively erased them from vast swathes of their former range. The lesson here is one of subtle, devastating consequence. We often only appreciate the value of a system's component when it is gone. The absence of the wild dog is a powerful reminder that the true strength of an ecosystem, or a society, is not in its most visible parts, but in the efficiency and cooperation of its regulating forces. The silence they left behind speaks volumes about what we stand to lose when we prioritize short-term gain over systemic balance. What indispensable, cooperative force in your life have you perhaps undervalued or allowed to slip away, and what void has it left? We lift our eyes now from the silent void to the magnificent, vibrant sky, the domain of the African fish eagle. Its presence is not silent, it is a declaration. The call of the fish eagle, a wild, musical, echoing cry that carries for miles across the water and the savanna, is often referred to as the voice of Africa. It is a sound that instantly evokes the spirit of the continent, untamed, powerful, and free. This is why the bird holds such symbolic weight, adorning coats of arms and national emblems, a testament to its commanding presence. The fish eagle is the aerial precision artist. From its high vantage point, it surveys the water with vision so acute it can spot the slightest ripple caused by a swimming fish from immense heights. Its powerful wings and muscular body allow it to execute the surgical strike. We watch as it executes the perfect dive. A sudden, powerful descent, breaking only at the last moment with a flare of wings, extending its massive talons, feet that look like specialized grappling hooks, to snatch the fish from the water's surface with split-second timing. The sheer force of the grab, coupled with the precision of its aim, is breathtaking. It is a master of its craft, embodying the principle that true freedom comes from absolute, focused capability. Now we must look down, away from the majestic symbol of freedom, to the creature that embodies the necessary, often repulsive truth of the cycle, the Marabou Stork. If the fish eagle is the noble symbol, the marabou is the essential, lanky and distinctly ludicrous janitor. With its bald, often blood-stained head, massive beak, and the unsettling, deflated pink air sac hanging from its neck, it presents a lugubrious, almost comical, yet undeniably unsettling figure. The marabou operates as the sanitary brigade of the plains. When the hunt is finished, and the lions, crocodiles, and other predators have moved on, the marabou arrives, often alongside vultures, to process the remains. Its diet is almost exclusively scavenged carrion and offal. This function is not merely the recycling of nutrients, it is a vital public health service. By consuming the decaying remains of dead animals, often those killed by disease or injury, the marabou prevents the spread of pathogens that could wipe out entire herds or even reach human populations. Its digestive system is a biological furnace, resistant to the most virulent bacteria, capable of sterilizing potentially catastrophic biological hazards. The marabou is the living proof that in nature there are no lowly jobs. It performs the necessary, gruesome task that sustains the health of the entire ecosystem. It reminds us that balance requires a cleanup crew, and that beauty is often dependent on the efficient handling of the ugly necessities of life and death. The duality of the eagle and the stork, the soaring ideal and the grounded necessity, is perhaps the most vital lesson of the Savanna. The entire system works because both roles are honored and fulfilled. We conclude our journey back where it began, in the immense, untouched llanuras of South Sudan, a territory that serves as a powerful testament to the sheer, indomitable will of life. This land, despite decades of human conflict, political instability, and unimaginable hardship, has somehow managed to preserve a core of its wild, ancient soul. It is a living library of instinctual brilliance and survival strategies honed over millennia. The stories we have witnessed, the maternal sacrifice of the Impala, the immense hydrological pulse of the Kob migration, the engineering tenacity of the hippo, the stillness of the Shoebill, the cooperative genius of the now-absent wild dog, are not mere vignettes. They are the collected wisdom of the planet. But this balance, this fragile, intricate clockwork of life and death, is now facing its greatest threat, one that does not stalk from the long grass but descends from the air: climate change and the relentless expansion of the human footprint. The White Nile's pulse, the very engine of the Great Migration, is becoming erratic. Droughts are longer and floods are more violent. As human settlements encroach, the migratory corridors shrink, turning the vast, safe plains into dangerous bottlenecks. The survival of the entire ecosystem we have just explored, the croc, the Sitatunga, the eagle, the stork, depends on the preservation of space and stability. To protect these ecosystems is not merely an act of environmental preservation. It is an act of self-preservation. It is the recognition that the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the lessons that shape our character are intrinsically linked to the wild heart of the planet. We must act as its stewards, ensuring that the white-eared Kob can continue their endless trek, and that the cry of the African fish, eagle, remains the definitive voice of the continent. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of instinct and the savage beauty of survival. If these stories of the wild heart of the planet stir something in your own spirit, if the voice of the eagle resonates with your soul, please take a moment to subscribe and help us continue to tell these vital stories of conservation, survival, and the unyielding beauty of the natural world.